Okay.
Hi, everyone. Colleen is here with me on Zoom for Where I'm From, number 154. We had some technical difficulties yesterday with Instagram, which happens sometimes. Instagram is moody and that's okay. So we're here on Zoom. And Colleen, how are you? It's a different day where you are in Australia.
Yes, today is Friday
Yeah.
morning here.
Mhm. And it's
And yes,
Thursday
I'm very
here.
excited to finally connect live.
And how did we connect? I actually was meant to ask you. I can't remember.
It was through Lisa Cooper Ellison.
Oh,
I
that's
I did
sweet.
it. I've done several of her webinars now, and I
Ah.
have found that she is the person I relate most to
Mhm.
for helping me get through my memoir because into my first edit.
Mhm.
Um, And yeah, I'm really needing I need it. I just love how hers is trauma based and
Yes, she's so good with that because
yeah,
so many
it's
people are
very
not trained,
extensive.
and
Yeah.
then they get themselves in these situations where they can't really deal with the content in a way that's appropriate. So she can and she does, and it makes sense because we have sibling loss in common. Because
We
I thought that
do.
was a random coincidence, but it's not a random coincidence because Lisa Cooper Allison is what connects us or who connects us. So that makes a lot of
Yes, the
sense.
three of us
Hmm.
have that connection. And I'm looking forward to her book. I actually haven't kept up with what's happening with it, but I'm looking forward to her book.
I am too. I mean, I think so
Yeah.
many of us are. And as you know, with memoirs, like it can take a while to find a home. So we're all, I'm rooting for her and so many other writer friends I have. It's like, I want to read your book. Like somebody pick it up. We're ready for it. So, Colleen, are you ready to read your poem?
I'm ready. Where I'm from books, from ABC Radio and Reader's Digest. I'm from a corrugated tin wall farmhouse in Cabra. Hot in summer with holes for the wind to whip through, the back slathered in mud after the '66 flood. I'm from the Jujus loading many a tree, a sweet and century-old legacy of gold miners from China. The mulberry tree whose berries stain my skin, branches towering over me. I'm from storytelling and southern summer family holidays, from oily doily and prize patchworker Margaret. I'm from fisher folk and water lovers, from swim, kick your legs, and don't let the tortoise nip you. I'm from God, grown in mummy's tummy and not left by a stalk in the cabbage patch. I'm from rocky and dark foreigner Irish heritage, from homegrown vine tomatoes and fresh seafood, from the water tank wind flown over David and Ian, an Air Force pilot, from fire preceding mum's labour and mastitis and our 2-day medical separation when I was 2 days old. Spread around our new home are mum's multitude of photos, some still unpacked. I am from these and more as I dare to read and write more memoirs to become a better me. That's it.
Beautiful. So what was the experience like well, there were so many things I loved. And before we started the Zoom conversation, we talked about how Colleen is from Queensland, which I've had the privilege of visiting many years ago. And it's a beautiful place. And I'm kind of glad we were able to have that conversation because then I knew exactly where I was picturing. Um, and I was thinking about, I feel like berries, for some reason, are something that show up in a fair amount of poems. I think I was just like, is it because it's such a visceral, like it's not just a flavor, it is the stain on your fingers. It is this like it's such a I don't know, I grew up in Southern California, so we didn't have that, but I would visit cousins in Northern California, and that was one of my fondest memories was picking wild berries um near their house. It was like magic to me. Um, I don't know if you
And the
felt the same
jujus were
way.
even better than the
Oh yes.
mulberries. The
I don't
jujus they were probably very small because they'd probably grown for years. Because
yeah.
seen something similar recently in a supermarket that was much bigger with a similar name. I
Hmm.
didn't buy it at the time. I should have because I haven't seen it again. But these were just so sweet and so addictive. And
And
I've
there
written
I don't think I've had them. I
I
don't.
know I, I only have seen something like it once ever in
Mhm.
a shop.
And they're
Not,
Chinese because now I'm like, well, I should go to an Asian market and try it because I really
I,
like to try different fruits because
yep.
I love fruit. So it's like I like to, because there are ones that I don't know about because I haven't been exposed to them. So I have heard of
Yes.
them, but I don't think I've had one. So I'm like, okay, where do I go?
I haven't really looked for them. I did see those ones, but they were much bigger, so I was like,
Mhm.
Yeah,
If they
I
would
think
taste the
these were
same.
very small because they hadn't been left to just grow
Wild.
wild.
Mhm.
And it Rocky, where I was growing up, can be very dry and harsh. So, you know, they would have got wet, they would have got rain, but not
Mhm.
consistently, like if you're in a garden.
Right. If you're being cultivated for
Yeah.
mass market
But I remember
production.
I wrote a poem like this for my brother for his 60th birthday. That was my
Mm.
second. I wrote this originally and left it to to edit before I've talked to you.
Mhm.
But the one I wrote for my brother, which has similar, some parts of it is similar. I said how he ate so many of them that his pee turned pink. I remember distinctly.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was when he was very tiny. But yeah,
It's
that was
fun.
something.
Those are that's like beets. I think of beets. They do that too.
When you say
Um,
it properly.
um,
Like,
so, so you'd already written one, and then you just edited it, or for this.
so when I heard you and Lisa Cooper Ellison talk, I was really excited because I was in this editing phase and really trying to find structure for my memoir
Mhm.
because I've
Yeah.
my mum is a patchworker, that's which is in this poem, and I see the way I've written my first edit and my first draft as a patchwork. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
separate pieces
Mm-hmm.
written. I have my writing group on Fridays after this,
Mm-hmm.
and just not even necessarily finished. Whatever I got done for the group, and there's just lots and lots of pieces. I've put them chronologically in a folder, but they're not connected in any way. They're just pieces
Mm-hmm.
that I thought about
Mm-hmm.
and used. And so now I'm thinking like, and I've been thinking for a year because I'm looking after my mom and
Mm-hmm.
needs a lot of head space.
It does, for sure.
Where do I start? I
Mm-hmm.
pretty well know. I think I'll be starting, and I've started several times and sent it off to, little trying to get
Mm-hmm.
various writing competitions or whatever.
Residencies and things.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm trying to get an understanding, and Lisa's work is helping me get. I'm at the point where I'm almost ready to now look at my character arc and try and
Yeah.
understand how long the story really should go for, and
Yeah.
yeah, then I hope to get that second draft
I think that lots
underway.
of times there's a lot of writing that happens before you can figure that out. Yeah, I mean, even though the character is you in memoir, I think to get to know, at least I'll speak for myself, to get to know what I really needed to talk about, I did have to, write things that won't be included. Like that's
Yes,
just the
yes,
nature of it. Um,
yeah.
and I have appreciated having this poem in my life because it's helped me so much with like narrative rhythm and realizing like, hey, I need to have some details here. Like I need to be grounded. I can't just talk about like what's happening or like it's I don't know, it's honed that part of my brain, which was something that I needed more of that, those physical details. So
I
listening to
like
these
that.
poems, it's really been like, oh, how much it pulls me in. Like you talking about the stain on your fingers from the berries, it's like, it lights up my brain in a very
Yes,
different way than you saying, when I was a kid, I ate berries,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So it's like, oh, it's lighting up my brain. That's what's happening to other people too. I should work on that.
Well, that's
It's
why I'm so thankful for
important.
you for doing this, because I love
I
that idea of being able to. I felt that it would be really good to go back to,
mm-hmm.
just go back to that, do something different, get something to get my maybe, and it has in some ways got my creative juices going. Thinking about my character now, that's the part I'm thinking about. Even though I'm supposed to be doing structure, I've moved on to character, so I'm sort of just it's all
Yeah.
it'll all happen in a certain way. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, I've learned a lot about my character lately, and yeah, this is part of it. Going back to that initial young me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I write a lot about young me, which has helped me, with
Mm,
me now because she's me.
definitely, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it's helped me have a lot more compassion for both young me and older me. Uh, so, and for clarity, is a patchworker like a quilt maker, or what is a patchworker?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I did look that up, and there is other meanings for patchworker.
Okay. I just wanted to be
Probably,
sure because that was my assumption, but I was like, if it's something else, I would like to know. Okay.
yeah. So my mum is a quilter and a patchworker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So more a patchworker, but yeah. And so she, before my dad died, he said, I want you to have something, because my mum has done a lot of different things. She's been a teacher and stuff, but he said, I want you to have something when I die. He was predicting that he was going to die before her. He didn't know, but he did.
Mm-hmm.
He died 19 years ago next week. And so he encouraged her to go from Cairns down to Brisbane, which is a very long way, if you
Yeah.
remember when
Yeah.
you've been here,
Mm-hmm.
and to go into a course and go through and become a teacher of patchwork, I think, and quilting. I'm not sure if it's quilting as well, and so she's won many prizes in her many years of
Mm.
making
I mean,
all sorts of different types of quilts.
and it's artistry. I mean, I
Oh,
love
yes.
quilts. They're beautiful, and lots of times they tell stories and they speak of
Mm.
where people are from and what their values were, and um, so it's in you telling
Yes, it's
stories.
in me, but I'm a word patchworker.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I'm not as much with the hands-on, but I admire it a lot because it's something that doesn't come naturally to me. So,
Mm.
um, so any other thoughts? I made a point of like only needing to go 15 minutes, and then I forgot when we started. So think I think
So
it's
I
coming
haven't
up,
timed it either.
and I think it's coming up in a couple minutes. So,
Okay.
any other
I
thoughts
have a
or?
whole what I did, and I loved what I did for my brother, because one of my sisters said, I was born before all this happened. What is, I don't know much about what this is about. So what
Mhm,
I did was I wrote I then spent another week after I'd written my brother's poem and did explanatory notes. So
mhm,
let me see if there's anything interesting. Um, I think the most important, the part about the back slathered in mud after the 66 flood, that was on my 4th birthday. So that's a really big, important memory. And I couldn't open my presents because they were left in the car, and my mum had to clamber, all of us had to clamber over a train. And she was 1 week off having my sister. So she was
oh my
pregnant, and we were
goodness.
clambering over a train and walking through all these fields to get back home. And we had no food except for the mulberry pie that mum had made for me and probably some cream. That's what we had for dinner. So that's like my best birthday memory, just about. Apart from when my little brother was adopted and he came for my 11th birthday.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so those are but he's not in here. Um,
Is he the
there's
one who
something
died?
else. Yes, Evan.
Yeah.
He was my youngest brother, and he died he died when he was 22, a year before my first daughter was born. I only have one daughter. Before my daughter was born,
Mm-hmm.
in 95, he died in a
It's
car
amazing how
accident.
much time can pass and how it still feels not. I mean, mine was 1984. It's like I don't know, and I don't know how you feel about aging, but I feel like sometimes as the milestones pass, I feel it more acutely. Like, oh, you're not here. You missed all of this.
Yeah, it changes for me at the
Yeah.
different life phases, I think,
Hmm.
and different losses bring out different losses.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, so different
Grief is
losses come to the
compounded.
fore.
Yes, definitely.
So recently, with my mum
Hmm.
having dementia, the loss
Hmm.
is of, because she's been one of my closest friends for all my adult life. So
Yeah.
I'm dealing with a lot of loss.
Hmm.
Um,
I'm sorry.
and that's a different loss.
Yeah, I think to have that loss when they're still with you physically is a very specific kind of loss. Um, and it
Yeah,
seems
so
difficult, especially if they've been your conversation partner and like your memory keeper, which my mom is in a lot of ways for me. So
yeah,
I can imagine that would be.
yeah. And the person I can share a lot of things. I have
Yeah.
she and another lady who is also caring for a partner who has some dementia are have been my closest friends. So
Hmm.
yeah, my friendships have changed and shifted a lot this
Hmm.
year, and I've had to deal
Hmm.
with a lot of stuff that you don't realize as you get older.
Hmm.
Your friendship can dwindle even when everyone's still here, or they can diminish
Mine
or
have
whatever.
changed a lot over my lifetime. So, and I think it's something people are just starting to talk about, but losing a friendship is an incredibly painful thing because lots of times they're alive, but the friendship no longer is. And,
Yes.
it's hard, it can be really challenging to reckon with. And it certainly has been for me, and I've been grateful for the friends who I can share that with, to not sit alone with it. Because
Yeah.
yeah, you kind of make the assumption, oh, you're just going to be friends.
But even just the changing of the friendships,
Yeah.
like I haven't mentioned in this, but I have a low-grade cancer that was diagnosed 5 years ago, and that changed my close relationships
Mhm.
with a couple of people. Not with, other people didn't change at all. But, and they've come back. It's just that I took some unusual, well, everyone deals with it uniquely, and
It's your
not
cancer.
everybody
You
can
get to
really
decide.
cope with how you deal with it. I feel I'm
Yeah.
doing the best
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
situation, but other people
Mhm.
think, "Oh, you should be doing this and that," and
Mm. Yeah, but
and
it's
yeah.
yours.
So I think for me, it's been the changing of the relationships, and not they don't stay static, and you sort of expect them to
Yeah.
stay
Yeah.
similar. And
Hmm.
yeah, I've learned that that's not true. And I never expected dementia, although we have a lot of relatives who had dementia, both on mum and dad's side. So
Yeah.
now I am expecting dementia, but
Well, hopefully not. Maybe telling your story will help.
I'm sure writing a book is a very good way of
Hmm.
stimulating one's brain,
Yeah.
constantly stretching me.
Yeah. Yeah. In ways that you couldn't manufacture any other way, that
No,
just come from the work itself. So,
yeah.
um, well, any other thoughts, Colleen, before we say
Well,
goodbye?
I could tell you lots more, but I think our 15 minutes is probably definitely up
I
by
I
now.
think it is, but it's fine. Um, we can go over. I was just for anyone who's watching, 15 minutes was the goal because that's how long Instagram allows as
Yeah.
recording. So, but it's all fine. But yeah,
For
anything
the
else about?
trauma part of it, for me, the last I really wanted to fit in about the fire preceding mum's labour and mastitis
Yeah.
and a 2-day medical separation, because that has left me with an abandonment issues, even though I was not abandoned, it was a medical abandonment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's been amazing since I've been writing to realize how much abandonment continues to influence my decisions. And there was sexual abuse in that,
I'm
I
sorry.
believe, although you know, you can't
Mhm.
confirm that as a 2-day-old person or a 4-day-old, but yeah, I have very strong, um, I've had in therapy sessions where that indicates that was, and there was some later, not at all related to my own family, but it very much affects my life still. And I'm
Of
thinking at
course.
62, I wish I'm not quite 62. I'm thinking I thought I'm old enough to get over all this.
I don't know if that's how
Obviously
it works.
not.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I feel like for me over the years I've come to the I'm kind of over getting over it. Like that's not the goal anymore. The goal is to make it all like part of me instead of siloing off these different parts of myself and trying to manage them. It's more about like becoming whole and those younger parts of me, even the little tiny one, and she's in you. And I think if
Yep.
your body thinks it happened, it
Yeah.
did. So,
Yep.
um, I believe you, and I hope you believe yourself because I think that when we believe ourselves, it's life changing. It has been for me, and
Yes.
I think it's really painful to think about people doing atrocious things to children, but they do. And um, if you believe that it happened to you and it's affected your whole life, then I'm thinking it happened to you, and I'm very, very sorry for that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, and I agree with you. My memoir is to learn more about, for me, for writing memoir, we all have different purposes, but it is to learn why I'm the way I am, to really know. I'm trying to
Mhm.
seek the
Yeah.
truth of different, we all have different senses of truth, but I really want to know exactly what happened
Yeah.
and why it affected me the way it happened. Of course, some things you're not going to know, but the more I read and write memoir, I read Chanel's about that trauma as a baby. I read
Yeah.
Chanel, I should know, Chanel Miller's
Yeah.
Know My Name.
Yeah.
And I read it and I thought, there's no way you can read a book like this and not know that the same thing happened to you. And I did that think while I was still working through it. I'm thinking, oh, there you go. You've just confirmed that it happened.
Mhm. A great book. a very powerful and beautifully written book. And I think sometimes people are scared off by the subject matter, but I highly recommend it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably the book that many memoirs have taught me a lot of stuff about myself, but that is probably the one that is the most,
Mm-hmm.
well, because of that reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fundamental thing that happened when I was so tiny.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. I mean,
Got that off
memoir
my
is
chest.
very powerful. I think in that way that we do learn about ourselves when we're writing it and reading it. And reading books just made me feel less alone in the world from a very young age and
Mm,
helped me to understand that there's a whole world out there. Because when you're small, and I think part of the reason I'm so interested in these poems and talking to people is because I can't get over my childhood and I've stopped trying. And when you're little, you don't know. Like you just think everybody lives like this. This is just
mm,
life. And books helped me understand like, oh, there are other family structures, there are other childhoods, there are other realities. And it's up to me to get there because I don't know how else I'm gonna do it. So it's gonna be me. Um, so so you got there. You're almost
yep.
62. So good for you. We're still going. That's how I feel about age, like still discovering and living and adventuring and healing and all these things.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fun with memoirs.
It is.
Reading and writing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad Lisa Cooper Ellison was the bridge between the two of us.
Yes. I'm
And
so thankful to her and to you for making this part of my journey, my writing journey.
yeah, we made it happen. We did it.
We did
Um,
it.
technical difficulties be damned. So thank you, Colleen. I appreciate your time and your poem, and I look forward to seeing where your memoir writing takes you.
Thank you, Alison, and me too.
Yeah.
Appreciate this. It's been really helpful and fun.
Good. Good. Fun. Okay. Thank you, everyone.